M.Sc फर्स्ट सेमिस्टर फर्स्ट जे आहे ऑर्गॅनिक केमिस्ट्री पेपर नंबर HC2 102 यामध्ये टोटल 4 टॉपिक्स इन्क्लूड आहेत. फर्स्ट वन इज द नेचर ऑफ बॉन्डिंग इन ऑर्गॅनिक मॉलिक्यूल. Second is the reaction mechanism, structure and reactivity. Third is the aliphatic, nucleophilic and electrophilic substitution reaction. And fourth is the stereochemistry. हे 4 टॉपिक्स तुमच्या या ऑर्गॅनिक केमिस्ट्री मध्ये इन्क्लूड केलेले आहेत. ओके, लेट अस स्टार्ट विथ द फर्स्ट टॉपिक, रिएक्शन मेकॅनिझम. Now first we will see what is meant by reaction mechanism. What is meant by chemical reaction? Suppose this is the reactant, and if that reactant is converted into product, then that is the reaction. Generally, conversion of reactant into product is called chemical reaction. These steps looks very simple, but in actual practice, that process is not so simple. That process maybe takes place in number of steps. That process may involve formation of some intermediate. During that process, there is a breaking of some covalent bond and also making of some new bond. म्हणजे त्या रिएक्शन मध्ये काही बॉन्डच ब्रेकिंग होत असतं, some new bonds are formed. त्या रिएक्शन मध्ये किंवा त्या प्रोसेस मध्ये some new intermediates are formed. काही नवीन इंटरमिडिएटचं सुद्धा फॉर्मेशन होतं. And that detailed study about the reaction means how actually reactant convert into product. That detailed study is called reaction mechanism. Okay, let us see example. Suppose this is ethene molecule, CH2 double bond CH2, very simple organic reaction. Now what happens when that ethene molecule is created with the HCl? Here addition of HCl takes place across the C double bond C and we get ethyl chloride. This is simple example of addition reaction. Ethene, when it reacted with the HCl, we get ethyl chloride. This is simple example of addition reaction. But in actual practice, that reaction takes place in a 2 steps. This reaction takes place in 2 steps. In first step, what happens? In first step, this pi bond undergo breaking. This pi bond between 2 carbon atom undergo breaking. There is a formation of new bond between carbon. Suppose this carbon and hydrogen. Okay, and we get the intermediate. Suppose this is the this first carbon already having 2 hydrogen. There is one more hydrogen, CH3. Now there is a single bond and CH2. Now that second carbon acquire positive charge. Thus, in first step, there is a breaking of pi bond and formation of new bond between carbon and hydrogen. We get carbocation. That second carbon acquire positive charge, and there is a formation of carbocation intermediate. Now, this carbocation further, actually, this is carbocation. Now it combined with Cl minus, and that Cl minus now form a bond with that positively charged carbon, and we get the ethyl chloride. Okay, this is the reaction. Actually, we have studied mechanism of this reaction. Means how actually that reaction takes place. आपण यामध्ये काय पाहिलं? How actually reaction takes place means what are the steps involved in the reaction? What are the intermediates formed in the reaction? How the bonds undergo breaking and how there is a formation of new bonds. Okay, we have studied that detailed reaction, and this is nothing but the mechanism. And thus, during the reaction, reactants are first converted into intermediate, and that intermediate further converts into product. And the detailed information about path followed by reactant to product is called the reaction mechanism. Okay, this is the reaction mechanism. Now, to study the reaction mechanism, we must know about actually what type of reaction is there. म्हणजे रिएक्शन कोणती आहे हे आपल्याला माहित असणं आवश्यक आहे. Therefore, again in the introduction, we are going to discuss types of organic reaction. Okay, let us see first point, types of organic reaction. Mainly, all the organic reactions are classified into 4 types. One, substitution reaction. Second, addition. Third, elimination reaction. And last one is the rearrangement reaction. Generally, all the organic reactions are classified into that 4 types. Now let us see one by one that 4 types of the organic reaction with their sub-classification also. First one is the substitution. Now, what is meant by substitution? Okay, I will mention a very simple example of substitution reaction. Okay, this is CH3Br, methyl bromide. When it reacted with aqueous KOH, that reaction is carried out at high temperature. Actually, what happens here? This bromine is replaced by OH. In this reaction, bromine is replaced by OH, and we get the methyl alcohol. And this reaction is called substitution. Here, bromine is substituted by OH, and that reaction in which atom or group from the molecule is replaced by another atom or group is called substitution reaction. Okay, and thus in this reaction, atom or group from the molecule is replaced by another atom or group. And there are three types of the substitution. One, electrophilic, nucleophilic, and free radical substitution. Okay, let us see one by one. First, about the electrophilic substitution. Okay, now I will take another example. This is a 6-membered cyclic compound, and this is example of aromatic compound, very simple organic compound, benzene. When reacted with the mixture of nitric acid and sulfuric acid, that mixture is nothing but the nitratic mixture. What happens here? That HNO3 react with H2SO4. There is a formation of NO2 plus ion. There is a formation of NO2 plus ion, and in this reaction, hydrogen atom from the benzene. We know that here each carbon having hydrogen, that hydrogen is replaced by NO2 and we get nitrobenzene. Okay, there is a replacement of hydrogen by NO2, hence it is substitution reaction. There is a replacement of hydrogen by NO2 plus ion. NO2 plus ion means positively charged ion, means electrophile. Positively charged ions are called electrophile, and thus in this reaction, hydrogen atom from the benzene is replaced by electrophile. Therefore, this is called electrophilic substitution. This is nitration of benzene, and nitration of benzene is an example of electrophilic substitution reaction. There is attack of electrophile. There is attack of nitronium ion on the benzene, and we know that all the aromatic compounds easily undergo electrophilic substitution reaction. Why? Because there is a electron cloud over and below the plane of ring. There is a more electron density on the aromatic ring. Hence, electrophile can be easily attacked on the benzene as well as all the aromatic compound, and they undergo electrophilic substitution. Okay, this is the first type. Let us see second one. Okay, now I have already explained that same example, alkaline hydrolysis of methyl bromide. Methyl bromide on a reaction with aqueous KOH, bromine is replaced by OH, we get methyl alcohol. In this reaction, bromine is replaced by OH minus, means bromine is replaced by negatively charged ion. This bromine is replaced by nucleophile. Therefore, it is called nucleophilic substitution. The reaction in which atom or group from the molecule is replaced by nucleophile. Means in this reaction, there is attack of nucleophile. There is attack of OH minus, and hence that reaction is nucleophilic substitution reaction. Okay, now there is one more type of substitution, free radical substitution. Okay, let us see first example, methane. When it reacted with chlorine in the presence of ultraviolet light, what happens here? One of the hydrogen atom from the methane is replaced by chlorine. We get chloromethane, or it is called methyl chloride. And this is simple. This is simple substitution reaction. Hydrogen atom is replaced by chlorine. But how actually that reaction takes place? That reaction is carried out in presence of ultraviolet light. Therefore, in presence of UV light, first that chlorine molecule undergo dissociation. In chlorine, there is a covalent bond between the two chlorine atoms, and this bond undergo homolytic breaking. Okay, one electron goes towards one chlorine, second electron goes towards second chlorine. First chlorine acquire unpaired electron, second chlorine also having one electron, and that species is called free radical. Thus, in first step, chlorine form free radical. It undergo dissociation to form free radical, and now that free radical participate in the reaction. It form a chain reaction. मी या ठिकाणी डिटेल डिस्कशन करत नाहीये. That free radical further react with methyl molecule, and that hydrogen is replaced by free radical. किंवा आपण असं म्हणूया, during that substitution there is a role of free radical, and hence that reaction is called free radical substitution. Okay, this is just about the first type of organic reaction. What is meant by substitution? Now let us see second, addition reaction. Now here also consider example, very simple example. CH2 double bond CH2, yes, ethene molecule. When this ethene molecule is reacted with HCl, we know that addition of HCl takes place across C double bond C. Hydrogen atom adds to one carbon, chlorine adds to another carbon, and we get ethyl chloride. This is called ethyl chloride. Now, actually, what happens in this reaction? In this reaction, that two molecule means ethene and HCl. In this reaction, that two molecule combines together to form single product. Two molecule combines together to form single product, and that reaction is called addition. Means the reaction in which two molecules combines together to form single product is called addition reaction. And generally, addition of reagent takes place across the multiple bond. Means if there is a double or triple bond, then that reagent adds to that double or triple bond, and we get corresponding addition product. Again, there are different types of addition reaction. Suppose first type is the electrophilic addition. Now, what is meant by electrophilic addition? I will explain. Okay, this is the example of electrophilic addition. Ethene molecule on reaction with HCl, we get ethyl chloride. Okay, I will explain mechanism of this reaction. This reaction takes place in a two step. What is the first step? Okay, this is our starting molecule, ethene molecule. In first step, what happens? The bond between two carbon, pi bond between the two carbon undergo breaking. It undergo breaking, and there is a formation of new bond between one carbon and hydrogen. While that second carbon, this carbon now acquire positive charge, we get the intermediate called carbocation. Now, this carbocation further combine with Cl minus, and that Cl minus form a bond with that positively charged carbon, and we get the ethyl chloride. Okay, this is the simple mechanism of this addition reaction. What happens in the first step? What happens in the first step? Here, this is example of addition reaction, no doubt. But that addition reaction is initiated by, that addition reaction is started by attack of H plus ion. In first step, there is addition of H plus ion, there is attack of H plus ion. H plus ion means positively charged ion, means electrophile, means that addition reaction is initiated by the attack of electrophile. Therefore, it is called electrophilic addition reaction. Let us see second one, nucleophilic addition reaction. Here also, I will explain simple example. When that acetone molecule, CH3, C double bond O, CH3, yes, example of ketone, acetone, when it is reacted with hydrogen cyanide, HCN. Yes, very simple reaction actually this is, that hydrogen cyanide adds to the carbonyl group, it adds to that C double bond O group. But yamadla CN, that CN cyano group, it adds to carbonyl carbon, hydrogen adds to oxygen, and we get corresponding addition product. Okay, this is very simple organic reaction. Okay, but let us see mechanism of this reaction. Okay, this is example of addition, no doubt, but let us see mechanism. Okay, this is our starting molecule, ketone, CH3, C double bond O, CH3, acetone molecule. What happens here? This carbonyl carbon is the electron deficient. Therefore, in first step, what happens? That Cn minus means nucleophile attacks on that carbonyl carbon. Means that Cn group form a pi bond with that carbonyl carbon. To maintain the valency, that pi bond between carbon and oxygen, it undergo breaking, and this electron pair goes on the oxygen. Now here that oxygen acquires negative charge. There is a negative charge on the oxygen, and this is the new bond between carbon and cyano group, and we get the intermediate alkoxide ion. Now in the second step, that H plus ion now adds to that oxygen, and we get the corresponding expected addition product. In this reaction, in the first step, there is an attack of Cn minus, there is an attack of negatively charged ion, there is an attack of nucleophile, and hence it is called nucleophilic addition reaction. The addition reaction which is initiated by attack of nucleophile is called nucleophilic addition reaction. Okay, addition of hydrogen cyanide to the carbonyl compound is the example of nucleophilic addition reaction. Okay, this is just about the second type, addition reaction. Now let us see third one, elimination reaction. Okay, again, I will explain a very simple example of elimination. Okay, this is example of organic compound CHCl3 chloroform. When this chloroform is treated with the base, very interesting reaction is there. When it is treated with the base, here this chloroform loses hydrogen and chlorine. यामध्ये काय होतं? Here this chloroform loses one hydrogen and one chlorine. यामधला एक hydrogen आणि एक chlorine molecule बाहेर पडतो. What is the main product? Carbon having two chlorine. Carbon having two chlorine, and that species is called carbene. This particular species is called carbene. And thus, in this reaction, two atoms, one is hydrogen and second is the chlorine. In this reaction, two atoms are removed from chloroform without any replacement, without being replaced by another atom or group. इथं आपण कोणतेही रिप्लेसमेंट करत नाहीये, तर क्लोरोफॉर्म मधून एक हायड्रोजन आणि एक क्लोरीन बाहेर पडतोय, and that reaction is called elimination. Eliminate means to remove out, and thus the reaction in which two atoms or group are removed from molecule without being replaced by another atom or group is called elimination reaction. And this is simple example of elimination reaction. Again, that elimination reactions are sub-classified into two types. One is a 1-1 elimination or alpha elimination. First type is the 1-1 or alpha elimination. Now let us see same example. Chloroform, when it reacted with the KOH, form carbene. Actually, what happens here in this reaction? One hydrogen and one chlorine is removed from the molecule. Means here two atoms are removed from the same carbon. Two atoms are removed from the same carbon, and that reaction is called 1-1 elimination or alpha elimination. This is the first type. Let us see second, 1-2 elimination or alpha beta elimination. Consider organic compound CH3CHOH CH3. Yes, it is example of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol किंवा आपण याला 2-propanol असं म्हणूया. 2-propanol when heated with concentrated H2SO4. Okay, what should be the reaction? There is a dehydration of alcohol. Means there is a removal of water molecule. OH from one carbon and hydrogen from adjacent carbon is removed as a water molecule. And double bond appears in between that two carbon, and there is a formation of CH3, CH double bond CH2. We get corresponding alkene with the elimination of water molecule, and that reaction is called dehydration. Alcohols on heating with concentrated H2SO4, they easily undergo dehydration. We get corresponding alkene. Actually, this is example of elimination. Why it is elimination? Because in this reaction, two atoms or group are removed, means OH and hydrogen. Two atoms or group are removed from a molecule, and therefore it is example of elimination. But that two atoms or group are removed from two adjacent carbon atom. That two atoms or group, they are removed from two adjacent carbon atom from two neighboring carbon atom. And this reaction is called 1-2 elimination or alpha beta elimination. If two atoms or group are removed from two neighboring carbon, then it is 1-2 elimination. And if that two atoms or group are removed from same carbon, then it is 1-1 elimination. Okay, this is the difference. Now let us see mechanism of this reaction also. I will explain the mechanism, how actually that dehydration of alcohol takes place. Okay, this is our starting material, isopropyl alcohol or 2-propanol. Now we know that this reaction is carried out in presence of acid, means there is excess of H+ ion. Okay, now what happens in the first step? That OH group, hydroxy group, it undergo protonation. We know that OH having a lone pair of electron. Okay, now this OH donate its electron pair and form a bond with that hydrogen, and we get a protonated alcohol. Now oxygen acquire positive charge. And we get the protonated 2-propanol. Okay, now this protonated 2-propanol loses water molecule. म्हणजे काय होतं? The bond between oxygen and carbon, this covalent bond undergo breaking and this electron pair goes towards oxygen, there is a loss of H2O. मग यामधून काय बाहेर पडतं? H2O, वॉटर मॉलिक्यूल बाहेर पडतो, and there is a formation of such carbocation. This carbon acquire positive charge, we get the carbocation. Now this carbocation further loses hydrogen from the adjacent position, म्हणजे इथला बॉन्ड ब्रेक होतो, ही इलेक्ट्रॉन पेअर इथं पाय बॉन्ड तयार करते, and we get the corresponding alkene, that is propene. This is actually mechanism of this particular dehydration, that's 1,2 elimination. Okay, this is just about the elimination reaction. We are just discussing about the types of organic reaction. Already we have studied first type substitution, second type addition, and third one is the elimination reaction with their sub-classification also. Now there is one more important type, and this is nothing but the rearrangement reaction. Okay, now let us see what is meant by rearrangement reaction. Okay, very important type. I will explain first example, a very interesting example of what is the name of compound. Yes, example of ester. Actually, this is ester. Phenyl acetate. The name of compound is a phenyl acetate. When that phenyl acetate is treated with anhydrous AlCl3. Anhydrous AlCl3 is example of Lewis acid catalyst. What is meant by Lewis acid? The substance which having ability to accept electron pair is acid, while which having ability to donate electron pair to another substance is called base. And here AlCl3 is example of Lewis acid catalyst. When our phenyl acetate is treated with anhydrous AlCl3, now what happens here? We get interesting compound. Here this is hydroxy group, and this remaining part is example of ketone, CS3, C double bond O, and from another side there is benzene ring. The name of compound is a orthohydroxyacetophenone. Actually, this is acetophenone, and that acetophenone having OH group at ortho position. Hence, it is orthohydroxyacetophenone. In this reaction, phenyl acetate on reaction with anhydrous AlCl3, we get orthohydroxyacetophenone. Actually, what happens here? This UCS3, that is acetyl group, migrates from oxygen to this ortho position. In this reaction, there is no any substitution. There is no any replacement from the outside. There is no any addition, and also there is no any elimination. In this reaction, there is a migration of atom or group from one position to another. This type of reaction is called rearrangement reaction. The reaction in which atom or group migrates from one position to another in the same molecule is called rearrangement reaction. And this is an example of rearrangement reaction. And this is particular reaction is called Fry's rearrangement. Now let us see one more example of rearrangement reaction. I will explain a very simple example. Okay, this is actually Pinacol. Such type of compounds are called Pinacol. This is example of dihydric alcohol. This is a dihydric symmetrical alcohol, and such symmetrical dihydric alcohol is called Pinacol. Now suppose that Pinacol, when heated with acid, then what happens? We get some interesting compound. There is an elimination of water molecule. म्हणजे इथून OH आणि इथला हायड्रोजन H2O बाहेर पडेल, and simultaneously that methyl group migrates from one carbon to another. त्या methyl groupचं सुद्धा migration होतं, and we get the particular ketone, and this compound is called as pinacolone, and therefore this reaction is called Pinacol-Pincolone rearrangement. Now why it is rearrangement actually? Because during this reaction there is a migration of methyl group takes place from one position to another, therefore it is rearrangement. Okay, I will explain mechanism of this reaction. Let us see mechanism of this reaction. Okay, this is our starting material. Now what happens? We are carrying out that reaction in presence of acid. Therefore here one of the OH group undergo protonation. Here OH having lone pair of electron, this oxygen form a bond with that hydrogen atom. We donate this electron pair to form a bond with that H plus, and we get the protonated alcohol. This is protonated alcohol, म्हणजे एका हायड्रोजनचे addition होते, and now oxygen acquire positive charge. Now this protonated alcohol loses water molecule. यामधून H2O बाहेर पडतो, मग हे होत असताना काय होतं, बॉन्ड बिटवीन कार्बन अँड ऑक्सिजन अंडरगो ब्रेकिंग अँड दिस इलेक्ट्रॉन पेअर गोज टुवर्ड्स ऑक्सिजन, इट बिकम्स न्यूट्रल. म्हणजे हा बॉन्ड ब्रेक होतो आणि इथून काय बाहेर पडेल, H2O. ओके, आय विल राईट -H2O ऑन द एरो. Now during this bond breaking, electron pair goes away from the carbon. Hence that carbon now acquire positive charge. There is a positive charge on the carbon, and this is called carbocation intermediate. Thus during that process, there is a formation of carbocation intermediate. Now this carbocation further undergo rearrangement reaction. Here this methyl group migrates from this one carbon to another carbon. It migrates towards electron deficient carbon. This is called 1,2 shift of methyl group. And now this carbon acquire positive charge. आता या पहिल्या कार्बन वरती पॉझिटिव्ह चार्ज येतो. Here this is positive charge. Okay, and this is migrated methyl group. इथे जो OH ग्रुप आहे त्या OH मधला बॉन्ड बिटवीन ऑक्सिजन अँड हायड्रोजन हा मी थोडं सेपरेट दाखवतोय. होतं काय, दिस बॉन्ड अंडरगो ब्रेकिंग आणि इथून बाहेर पडतो H प्लस, म्हणजे या बॉन्डचं ब्रेकिंग होतं. अँड दिस इलेक्ट्रॉन पेअर फॉर्म अ पाय बॉन्ड बिटवीन कार्बन अँड ऑक्सिजन. ही इलेक्ट्रॉन पेअर इथं पाय बॉन्ड तयार करते अँड दस देयर इज द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ C डबल बॉन्ड O ग्रुप. म्हणजे इथं कार्बोनिल ग्रुप तयार होतो, मिथिल ग्रुपचं मायग्रेशन होतं अँड वी गेट द एक्सपेक्टेड प्रॉडक्ट दॅट इज पिनॅकोलोन. आणि आपल्याला पिनॅकोलोन किंवा करस्पॉन्डिंग कीटोन मिळतो. अँड दिस इज द मेकॅनिझम ऑफ पिनॅकोल-पिनॅकोलोन रिअरेंजमेंट. इट इज एक्झाम्पल ऑफ rearrangement reaction because there is a migration of alkyl group takes place from one position to another. This is just about the types of organic reaction. Now to study the reaction mechanism, we must know about type of organic reaction. What type of organic reaction is there? And therefore we have studied in the introduction, we have studied various types of organic reaction: substitution, then addition, elimination, and rearrangement. These are the four main types of organic reaction.